everyone, it's Dan here. Welcome back to my Better Than Adventure world. I think today I'd like to do a bit of landscaping around here, around this bit of land, because it's quite nice with all the flowers, but it's a bit dark, a bit scary, and I think a nice dock might be nice. But first I'll show you what I've changed about the sauna, which is that I added this brick wall because it just kept catching fire, but now it's nice and fireproof, and you can even see the fire down there. Yeah. But I think I might extend these pillars down because it looks a little bit weird that they just don't go anywhere. I think I might be wandering around at night too much because I just had this creeper come and blow up everything. Oh dear. That's why I've got to make it a bit nicer around here and light it up. You can see I've put some more torches down and stuff. Hopefully that'll solve the issue a bit, but come on, look at this. Oh my goodness, it's just happened again. He just snuck up on me. I think I need to go to bed. The colours of autumn have really come in this season. Really beautiful. And this place is really started to take shape actually. A lot of nice little buildings and paths around. Yeah, it's good. I have extended this down to the beach, where you can hop on the boat. I don't think I'll develop this too much, like with a dock or anything, but I was thinking of maybe putting like a sea wall up, like of cobblestone. Might look kind of good, and might put something on this bit of land. I'm not really sure what would go here, other than just like a garden. And I also want to push the land here back a bit, because it all feels very tight close to this building. Yeah. And maybe something here too, maybe just a place to sit. Yeah. So it's almost dawn at the moment, and there's been a big thunderstorm in the night. I was just looking in my chest, and I got lots of cloth. So I want to try make a special item that we have in this mod. I think you make it like this. Aha, a flag. I've never made this before, so I don't know how it works. Oh, it flaps in the wind. I think you can edit it. And you can like draw on it. Oh, I think you need to put dye in there. Okay, well I'll try think of a flag design and then put that on there. Also, in the night, I was fighting some monsters, and look what happened. The skeleton shot the creeper, and the creeper goes, oh, wait, and he blows him up. That's pretty cool, but pretty annoying for me, because now I've got to fix all this. Anyway, I just thought that was a nice bit of attention to detail there, that the creeper actually goes and explodes on it. I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen in the normal game, but I think that's pretty cool. Oops. Okay, here we go. Yeah. And look at that, the rain's gone. That's nice. Let's put these flowers down. Yeah, cool. So the flag actually flies in different directions and all. That's pretty cool. Not really sure where I'd put a flag. Maybe... oh, yeah, probably not like that. Maybe right on top of the building or something, or up on the roof might be nice. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'll chuck it right here. Hey, that looks pretty cool, and you'll be able to see it from all around. Okay, I'll go find some dye and see if I can put a design on this flag. So the title of this episode is What the Buddha Taught, because I wanted to talk about Buddhism generally, and specifically the Buddha's teachings, because it's sort of a whole framework of what I might want to talk about. And while I do that, I'm going to be building and maybe do a bit more exploring, because there's a lot of this map we've yet to discover, and it's quite fun to just sail around. Oh, it's foggy today, actually. So yeah, I think let's start with that. Let's go for a little swim around or boat around. So, what the Buddha taught. Essentially, the Buddha was someone who lived 2,500 years ago in what is nowadays India, and he basically went around and taught. He meditated for a long time and had this enlightenment experience, and then went around and taught for the rest of his life. Is the very basic version. And I'm going to read out a little excerpt from the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or the Setting the Wheel. What's it called? Setting the Wheel of Dhamma in Motion. That's what it is in English. Hey, check this out. Which this is the sutta that basically a talk that the Buddha gave, the first one he gave after he was enlightened, and he gave it to his 5 friends that he used to practice with them, and then he left them, and they were not happy with him, and then he came back and he taught them this, and they were quite happy then. Oh wow, it is foggy and a little bit gloomy, but it's really nice over here. So this is from the translation from Thanissaro Bhikkhu, and the bit I want to read out goes, "Now this, monks, is the quote, and this, monks, is the noble truth of stress. Birth is stressful, aging is stressful, death is stressful," unquote. It goes on a bit, but I want to give you the quick version. Now, the word stress there is a translation of I think it's a Pali word dukkha, and this is often translated as suffering. So you often see the word suffering appear in Buddhist texts, but I like that here it's been translated as stress, because dukkha can refer to suffering, but I think in English suffering sounds a bit more intense. Suffering is like when you're at war or when you have a violent disease or something, like that's suffering. But dukkha can be like that, or it can just be a more subtle kind of stress, or dis-ease is a good translation, or just a general sense that things aren't quite right. It doesn't have to be intensely painful. Anyway, so this is what we call the first noble truth, what he teaches here. And it basically says that life contains this stress. It's unavoidable. It's not all there is to life, but it is an unavoidable part of life, is the point, really. And then the second noble truth goes, quote, "And this, monks, is the noble truth of the origination of stress, the craving that makes for further becoming, accompanied by passion and delight, relishing now here and now there, i.e. craving for sensual pleasure, craving for becoming, craving for non-becoming," unquote. So what he's getting at here is that all the suffering, all the dukkha, comes from craving for things that we like to stay, craving for things that we don't like to go, craving for things that we wish we had, craving that things we like were permanent, craving that things we don't like are impermanent, all sorts of things like this. And the idea is, by making all these, clinging to all these things in the mind, is what causes the suffering. Anyway, let's move on. So this is the third noble truth. Quote, "And this, monks, is the noble truth of the cessation of stress." So that's the end of stress. "The remainderless fading and cessation, renunciation, relinquishment, release, and letting go of that very craving," unquote. Now I went a bit quick there, but that's because this one's pretty basic. It just means by ending craving, you can end suffering, which makes sense to me. So the last noble truth, and this is the big one that I'm going to talk about the most, goes, quote, "And this, monks, is the noble truth of the way of practice, leading to the cessation of stress, precisely this Noble Eightfold Path," unquote. So basically the fourth noble truth is how to do it. is how to end craving, how to end suffering. And this is really at the heart of Buddhism. This is essentially what Buddhism is. This is what the Buddha said. This is what you've got to do to relieve the suffering. And it's called the Noble Eightfold Path because it's made of 8 stages. So I'm going to pull up a different website here and read them out. So yeah, it's made of 8 stages, and it's worth noting that this isn't like 8 steps. It's not you do step 1 and then step 2 and then you reach step 8 and then you're done. They're all to be done at the same time. Okay, so 1, we've got right view. And the word right here is not like right as in right and wrong, as in it's morally correct, but right as in it's appropriate, if that makes sense. Like you might say, this is the right key for the door, that kind of thing. So right view is, very quickly, it's basically seeing clearly, knowing how things really are in the world, and not clinging to views of what you think the world is like or what people tell you the world is like, that kind of thing. Second is right resolve or right intention. And this is basically saying you have to really have an intention to follow the Buddhist path. You can't just sort of believe it and then it will come to you. You have to really have an intention to follow it. So those two steps, the first 2, are sort of part of they're just kind of to frame the rest, right? You need the right view and the right intention to do the rest. So now we move on to the ethical part. There's 3 parts, and the second part is the ethical part. So first we've got right speech. And this is the same as the precept for right speech, which you might remember from a previous episode, which basically is not to lie, not to speak harshly, because what you say really affects your mind and really affects the world, basically. So yeah, you need to use right speech. And it's worth noting that the Buddha he made a whole step of his, Noble Eightfold Path is completely devoted to speech. Just shows you how important speech is in the Buddhist tradition. So next is right action. And this is sort of similar, but it's more for your bodily action. So this is things like not killing, not stealing, real physical acts that cause suffering, basically not to do those. And then the fifth stage is right livelihood. And this is specifically to how you live your life. So maybe your job or the way that you live, things like this, it's kind of marketed towards lay people. So just, normal people with jobs and houses and stuff. And basically taking steps in your life to create as little suffering as possible and to relieve as much suffering as possible. So this might be things like not having a job where you trade meat, or not being a soldier, or not being a slave owner. I think the Buddha actually names some specific professions, and I think it's dealing in humans, so slavery, dealing in weapons, dealing in poisons, I think alcohol is one of them, and dealing in meat, so being a butcher. These kind of things are they are directly involved with suffering of human or animal lives, so it's best to be avoided. Okay, so now we move on to the wisdom part of the Eightfold Path. So the first one is right effort. And this one I find pretty straightforward, is that you basically need to apply effort and energy into your practice. You can't just sit there and let it happen. You actually have to make a conscious effort to do it. Next is right mindfulness, and this is sort of like just being aware of everything in your daily life. So when you walk, you know you're walking. When you sit, you know you're sitting. When you eat, you know you're eating. This sort of thing. And you could go on and on about this. It's quite a big topic, especially for me to cover in a very quick Minecraft video. Oh my goodness, it's dark now. I better get some... Actually, I think I'll tell the last one because we're almost at the end, but then I'll come back when there's a bit more light. So the last one is right concentration or right meditation. And this is, I think this just means you've got to meditate, basically. Meditation is a very important practice in Buddhism, and this is basically just saying that that's something you need to do. Oh no, I should have really brought a bed with me. I guess I'll just wait here for the night. Yeah, right meditation. You need to use meditation to learn how to better use your mind, basically. Anyway, that's the very quick version. The Eightfold Path, it's actually not something I think about very often because I don't quite understand it. Some of them are quite easy to understand, like right livelihood, don't have these certain jobs is the basic version. But like all things in Buddhism, you can sort of dive in and get really deep into these teachings, and it's just not one that really clicks with me. I do like it in concept, but I find it difficult to apply in my daily life, especially because it's 8 stages, it's hard to remember them. That's why I've got a list up to describe them. Anyway, I hope that was interesting, and I might talk a bit more about that when I get back, but this map is looking really nice. It looks like I'm on a big island myself, but that forested island to the south looks really cool as well. Almost looks like it's in the shape of Ireland a little bit. Pretty cool. Just coming back now, and the lighthouse is very useful for helping me see the way back. So nice when buildings like that actually have a proper use in the game. Here we go, and the sauna actually looks like it's got a real nice view. Oh yeah, I think I need to make this a bit more accessible. I can't really get up here. There we go. Oh, now I can sit in the sauna. There we go. Ah, oh, that's nice. Definitely need to get some like water in here, but I don't know. I don't know how I would display that in beta. Oh well, I'll just enjoy it.